Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live video. So in this one here, I want to break down the episode 3 teaser that we just got from comicbook.com. So I'll leave a link down below to the article. There's scenes in there and everything. If you do want to go check it out, I really recommend it. Really, honestly. The ending of episode 2 was incredible, but this scene here I think is just, it's so much better because, first of all, Jadis says stuff in here that's like way more direct, and Andrew Lincoln's acting in this scene, it's way better than what was at the end of episode 2. His reaction to everything, I think, really sets up this episode, and I think is going to be what the story of episode 3 is going to be about, which is Michonne is in danger, and Jadis is going to be getting rid of her, it seems like, and it's just sort of letting Rick know and telling Rick, don't try anything or this and that, right? So I think Rick is just like obviously going to be freaking out about all that, and we really get this in the scene here. So I want to talk about this. So before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my Walking Dead content like this, and also I apologize for not posting for the last couple of days. I just wasn't really feeling too good, but yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now, so I'm doing this here, and this will be the only video for today, but I'll have a lot coming tomorrow, and then obviously Sunday is episode 3, which I'm so hyped for this episode here. So yeah, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this, but let's actually get into the scene here. So I'm guessing that this is going to be the opening minutes. I think that this episode's probably going to start off with this scene, just because obviously it's sort of, that's where episode 2 ended. It kind of makes sense to me, and I think that they're going to be doing they're going to be going in other places and stuff in this episode, so I don't think this is something that's going to happen like, 10-15 minutes in. I think it's basically going to start off with this. And yeah, Jadis basically, she says a lot more in this scene than, in episode 2 at the very end. She said whatever she said to Rick, and obviously that was very shocking. But here, what she says is basically, in the event of my untimely demise, I just put a little file among my possessions, telling them everything they need to know about you and all the people that you love. That part is like, whoa, what? So that's the one part about all of this that we were kind of wondering about, it's like, because Jadis is saying all this stuff, I mean, it's pretty obvious that, for Rick, it's like, okay, well, I just gotta take you out then. If I take you out, then I don't have to worry about this anymore, right? So that was kind of the thing after episode 2 that everyone was talking about. It's like, well, I guess that's kind of what he needs to do then. But Jadis did say here that, she has a little file among her possessions that, basically, if something were to happen to Jadis, then all of this stuff would come out. And so that's just insane to me. So nothing can happen to Jadis. And so that almost adds a different element to this here, which is like, they can't kill Jadis. Like, they actually can't, like, they have to make sure she survives, which is kind of insane, right? Like, they actually have to kind of make sure that nothing happens to her. And imagine if they're out there, like like, I know that later on in the show, it seems like Jadis is going to be chasing them down, and I think that Rick and Michonne do escape. And so if Jadis does die at some point there, that's going to create a lot. And I just feel like a lot of this here, like I posted a video the other day talking about, like, what if the show ended here? And again, if they are doing a season 2, like, what if it ended on a cliffhanger of Alexandria was basically destroyed? And I wonder if it's connected to, like, Jadis's death and certain things happening like this, right? Like, I wonder, and that's one thing too, like, maybe they don't kill Jadis, but what if Jadis gets bit by a walker? Then they're kind of freaking out about that, right? Like, this really does add something to the whole thing here. And again, Jadis is such a dangerous character to have around. Like, she is someone that, Rick, man, he has to be just so, like, the fact that he ever met her, right? Like, obviously he wanted her help, during the Savior arc and all of that, but ever since then, like, she has really done a lot to Rick. And I just think now, they have to make sure she survives. And so that kind of tells me that, like, in terms of writing, if you're a writer, the fact that Jadis said this here, if something happens to her, then, the CRM is going to find out about Alexandria and all that. I feel like the fact that she said that means it's going to happen. That is something that, like, they're not just gonna, for excitement in terms of writing and all that, they're not just gonna be able to keep it like that now for the rest of the season, where it's like, no, that's all it is. And then, Rick and Michonne, maybe they killed Jadis, but then they stopped the CRM from finding out about that and whatever. I feel like the fact that Jadis said this here is pretty much proof, I feel like, that it's going to come out at some point here. And I feel like it's going to be episode 5, I'm guessing, and maybe the cliffhanger, where the CRM are made aware of this. And again, this could be the season cliffhanger here. Like, maybe Jadis doesn't die, but maybe something like this, happens where Alexandria actually is destroyed. And again, when I say that, I know it sounds insane, but you got to remember, no one's in Alexandria. Like, there might be a couple of characters that are there, but like Judith and RJ, they're not in Alexandria. So, in terms of that, you don't have to worry about that. Like, for Rick and Michonne, they're not going to know that. So it's going to seem so insane if that happened, it would just be crazy, right? For them, because like they're thinking like Judith and RJ are gone, kind of thing, right? But obviously, like we know the reality of what's going on, and so it just creates more of a a really insane finish to a really incredible season here. So I think that could be where they're going here. And Jadis continues on here, and she says, "And I imagine that a CRM reclamation team would have or would have everybody that you love dead within hours of that file's receipt." And then she goes on to say, basically, like, if you're leaving with knowledge of this city and everything here, like that's not going to happen. That can never happen. Like, so to me, that is like, again, like just saying that, like within hours as well, that really does show that the CRM, as soon as they find out about Rick and all of that, especially if Rick and them leave and the whole situation, the CRM are going to be over there immediately. Like it's going to literally be hours. And so Rick at this point, like you got to think about what he has to do now, and again, he's in a very, very stressful situation because there's so many things about this. Like he is freaking out, right? Jadis at this point, like if you just think about it, like just think about like literally the situation that Rick is in right now. He either has to just let Jadis, I guess, kill Michonne, or I guess move Michonne to a different location, because in the trailer Rick says something like, "A woman saved me," and they're gonna move her or whatever, but I can't let that happen. I think Rick knows they're probably just gonna kill Michonne, right? So Rick's like, I can't let that happen. And so Rick is basically choosing between Michonne and everyone in Alexandria at this point. Like that's the way that Jadis has set all of this up here, right? And she even says, like Rick is trying to make a deal. That's what's kind of funny about the scene. Rick's just like, is there a deal that, that we can make about this and that? We can do whatever. And Jadis is just basically like, no, like, it's unfortunate and it's too bad that Michonne came here. Like she shouldn't have come here, kind of thing, right? And man, like again, Rick is in a very, very scary situation here. And so now he needs to somehow handle this. And how does he go about this, right? I'm so interested in episode 3 because, like, he's probably going to tell Michonne that, right? And Michonne's going to be like, well, I mean, I don't know what she would say about that, because obviously for her, like, she doesn't want to die or anything like that, but she doesn't want people in Alexandria to die. But I do think that they're going to have to figure out something here. Like, what do they do in terms of trying to escape? Because they're going to want to escape, right? And we know Rick and Michonne are going to escape, but that's the thing about all of this here. Is I feel like Rick is going to be like, you know what? I need to find out more stuff about this. If we can get away, maybe there's a way that we can sort of save everyone in Alexandria. And I feel like maybe their plan is, or maybe Rick's plan at first is like, you know what? If me and Michonne can get away, then maybe we can do something where we can go back to Alexandria and get everyone to leave. Like we'll just literally leave, kind of thing, right? Maybe send a message to Alexandria. That's something that could happen as well. Like I feel like that's probably, that has to be the plan, I feel like, because otherwise if they escape, they're risking Alexandria and everything. So I don't know where this is going, and I'm just so interested in this. But obviously Rick can't just like let Michonne die. He's never gonna do that. So it just got so interesting. Like the story just got crazy, right? And again, Rick is just such a different person. Like it's so interesting watching this scene, and he just seems so scared and stuff. Like he's not, I don't want to say he's not the strong person that he was before, but he kind of isn't. Like he's lost a lot of that, right? Like he's been here for so long. He doesn't seem to have the belief that the CRM can be taken down. Like he seems to have the belief that it's like, no, they have to, you got to listen to everything they say. They're like, this massive organization, this and that, like there's nothing you can do. And Michonne, even in episode 2, is like, well, can we, fix this? Can we change things, kind of thing? Can we, whatever? And Rick's just like, no. Like it's not even like he's like thinking about it. He's just like, no, don't even go there. We can't do anything like that, right? And so I feel like Rick does have to sort of regain some of his confidence here in the next couple of episodes. Maybe that's the point of this season is, that's where, that they're building to that here for the finale, where that's where they're going to go here. But, and again, I'm not saying Rick doesn't have his confidence entirely, but you can tell that he's a little different. He's not the same person he was before. I mean, I guess you could see the person he was before. Like he cut off his hand, right, to try and escape. Like that was the old Rick Grimes that we knew then. But, now that he's a part of the CRM and he's just dealt with so much, like he knows now, right? So that's what's going to be really interesting about all of this here is like, what do they, get into in terms of where to, like, what do they do now? And I wonder if episode 4 is going to really get into that for Rick and Michonne, because we know that one is going to be the big, like, emotional episode. Rick is going to learn of RJ and like everyone, right? And I wonder if maybe Rick doesn't tell Michonne about what Jada said, right? Because like maybe if Michonne finds out about what Jada said, Michonne's gonna, obviously make a really easy choice, and Rick doesn't want that to happen. Maybe he keeps that away from her, and then maybe in episode 4 that comes up, right? And then there's some arguing there. They talk about trying to fight back. There's some, personal stuff in terms of like RJ, just them and what it's like for them now after being reunited after all these years, right? So there's a lot to get into in episode 4. So I'm really happy that in that one there, for the story anyways, they're just gonna settle everything down and just focus on that, because there's a lot of stuff that's like everywhere right now that you're like, you want to focus on a couple of things here, right? So yeah, really incredible scene. Honestly, I was really blown away by just kind of, Jadis is such a crazy character. I really did not expect this from her in this season. And honestly, I will say, I thought that we would get a lot more Major General Beale. Again, we're 2 episodes in, so we'll see. But I thought we were going to be getting a lot more of him. And, episode 3, it seems like we might get 1 scene with him. Episode 4, it doesn't seem like anything's really happening with him. Maybe it ends in a different way, but that one seems to be all about Rick and Michonne. So I'm just like, yeah, Jadis is sort of I feel like the villain of this season here, which, I guess makes sense. It does make sense if this show is going to be like 2 or 3 seasons, right? If they're going on that long, it makes sense. The first season is like all about Jadis. Maybe she dies here in the finale or something, I don't know. And then you're sort of setting up Major General Beale, right? And they're kind of doing proper setup because he's like the big villain. He kind of runs everything, right? And so you're seeing him here and there, just kind of doing these scenes or whatever. And maybe he has like a big scene in the finale. I mean, that's the thing, is I know he's probably going to, right? Like, Major General Beale is one of those characters that maybe he has a scene in episode 5 that's kind of cool or whatever, but I feel like he will have like a really amazing scene in the finale. And especially considering the fact that Terry Quinn talked a lot about, working with Andrew Lincoln, just filming scenes with him and stuff in general. And they've only really had that 1 scene together. So, that more is going to be coming. And I just wonder how that's going to go. And I'm so excited to see where the story is going to go. Jadis right now is, I think, in terms of what that character was in the beginning to where she's at right now, just a really amazing character. And it's so crazy to think that, like honestly, it's insane to think that just who we knew Jadis as way back in the day, the fact that she's, where she's at right now is just, it's really crazy. But anyways, I guess I'll leave it here. Post all your thoughts down below on episode 3 and, or I guess it's episode 3 teaser, and post your predictions for the episode. We have 2 more days until this episode airs. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.